Miniature Market has thousands of board games at discounted prices. Click the direct link below to see all of those discounted games. Hello my friends, today we're going to be getting in that car and racing down the road, but we gotta be watching out because people are gonna be sending their helicopters and choppers after us, shooting us, dropping bombs on us, and exploding our cars. Today we're taking a look at Thunder Road Vendetta. This is from Restoration Games. Let me show you how it works. I'll see you on the other side. In Thunder Road Vendetta, you're going to start with a small, medium, and large vehicle along with a helicopter and some dice with those colors. Now, not all of them are sort of white dice. If you, for example, come with the green player and you have green cars, you also have green dice, for example. Now, going forward, even the regular base edition with the most latest Kickstarter has these cool washed versions of the cars. Now, the base game comes with 5 of these different double-sided boards. Now, you'll start with 3 of them as the track. Now, what you're trying to do in this game is either be the last person standing, meaning the last person with cars, because your cars are going to be getting destroyed throughout the game, or if one player is completely eliminated, then a finish line will come up, and then the first person there wins. Now, if someone gets to the end of this 3rd board and there isn't anyone eliminated yet, well, a new board comes out and everybody on the last board gets completely eliminated. So it makes it a fun, tight little race, but also some tension too. Now, each player has a dashboard that's going to run all their cars, the small, the medium, and the large, and sort of a special ability board, and you'll have your helicopter here. You'll roll your dice, and then on your turn, you're going to select one of these dice. Now, each sort of round, you're going to be able to use these 4 dice, one for each of these cars, assuming that they're still available, they're not destroyed, and then possibly one here for special ability and such. So it's pretty simple. Let's say I want to move this large car, and let's say I want to move it 2, for example. I'll go like this. Now you come in the end of the board like 1, 2, like that. Now if I had more than 2, let's say I did 6, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because you see you can always go sort of forward like that, and that would have been actually a pretty good first move, but you don't always want to be in the lead in this game because you tend to be the target and such. So let's say I did just move 2. Normally I would do something like this. Now you want to be careful not to be near the edges, because if your car ever gets slammed off the edge for certain reasons, which I'll show you in a minute, your car is destroyed. So going in the middle is actually pretty good, but then there's these hazards you got to avoid. So it's a little bit of a give and take here. If I go here, well, it's okay, I'm not getting a hazard, but if I get slammed a couple times, I could be dead even at the end of the first round. So let's say instead, let's say I came here and I'm like, I want to stay in the middle. Let's go and see what these hazards are. Now these hazards are in specific spots on the boards, and these are sort of randomized what hazards come out when. So for example, let's say I was going into here, and this would be a wreck. So you'd actually replace that with a wreck, and these are essentially small cars that were still left over from the previous race. Now whoever's slamming gets to go on top, then you would roll a direction die. So this will also tell us who is going to be slammed and moved, the bottom car or the top car. This shows the top car, and this shows in which direction. This is like this. Now typically the larger car can decide to re-roll the dice there. So normally in this case, I would be like, no, we're going to re-roll that because I don't want to go this way because it's going to make me go into another hazard. But just to show you some of the fun of the things that happens in the game, let's say I re-rolled it and it was this again. It'd be a low chance of that, but let's see. So this would go in here. So this would get slammed in this direction, and we have another, it's an oil slick. So what this does is I go here, and because it's oil, I continue because it's just like that. Now another thing I could have done with the dice is I could place 1 die here. Now this will typically just happen once per round. Otherwise, it would have been the next player's turn, and then we keep going until basically all your dice have used, and that'd be the end of the round. But let's say when I was doing something, when I was placing my dice, I placed it here. Now I would have actually activated this before I moved the car for this round, but I just want to show you what these do. Airstrike is great. This is sort of a helicopter there. But I could have easily placed it here, a die between 1 and 3, and I could have had nitro and it would have moved that value, whatever I did. Sometimes you can ignore your first slams into cars and things. Sometimes you can repair damage that you'll be getting. But here, let's just show you the cool thing about the helicopters there. Now let's say the board had looked like this. This is probably why I would have wanted to place my chopper. I'm going to place it right here. Now this is important. As soon as I place my chopper, I can shoot. And again, anywhere in its front 3 arc, I'm going to shoot this green car that's right there. Now this die will say, any size or medium or large, medium, small. This one says medium. It could hit it. Medium, it gets hit about 50% of the time. Basically, the larger the vehicle, the easier it is to shoot. So it gets shot, it takes some damage. This would go near that player's car dashboard. Now, if you ever take 2 damage, it's essentially inoperable, and it faces backward. You won't really be able to move it anymore. Like, you can coast it, but you can also do things to repair damage, as I showed you earlier. But here, let's say they got damage. They draw damage. It says dazed. You roll a stunt die and then move. So this is 1. So this is going to push it into this thing. Oh my gosh, it's a mine. Which basically means they're going to take another damage. And let's say that the damage they take is blast off, which means they're going to move in that direction that many spaces, but instead of days where it goes through every space, blast off, it would like actually blast and end in that spot. And let's say, oh well, it ends right here. Anytime a car ends its turn where a helicopter is, the helicopter drops a bomb and the car's eliminated. And guess what, folks? It can happen that your own helicopter destroys your car. This car would be gone, and 1/3 of those of that player as the cars are gone. Again, if all your cars are gone, you are completely eliminated. So as you can see, this game has definitely some strategies, but it definitely has some some organized chaos too. Like let's for instance say this one goes here, boom, right? Then there's a slam. But let's say the bottom one ends up getting pushed down here. Now there's a slam. Let's say this one slams into here. Now they resolve this. Then we go here. And then, oh good, it's just a road, nothing crazy. But it could have slammed them or moved them right into the helicopter or off the edge or into another car. There's lots of chain reactions that happens in this game, and that's just the fun and the experience and the memories and the stories that come out of this game. So again, on your turn, you're going to select a die, put it on one of your vehicles, possibly place 1 die here once per round, and then do it, then activate the car. So next time, maybe I'll activate this one, go 6, this one I'll activate 1, I'll go there, round's over, re-roll all your dice, and you keep doing this over and over. Again, these allow you to do the airstrikes, go faster than nitro, drift through your first slam, or repair one of your damages, which can allow you to then start moving that car again. Otherwise, if a car is damaged, or if they had 2 damage down here, then basically you could just coast down there, basically moving forward 1. At a high level, that's how you play. Again, if you're either going to be the last one standing to win, or if at least one player is eliminated, the first one to get to the end where the end finish line would be. Now, there's also these impassable spaces that you can get slammed into in any of these. Like this whole section here, if you go into, you're dead. That's the bunker. So, and again, there's a lot of different boards. They're double-sided. There's tons of replayability even in the base game. Now, in the Maximum Chrome Edition, they have tons of expansions. They have the Big Rig, which comes with a huge 3-piece section of a car. They have 5 different motorcycles that can run around. Each of these have their own little rules that work differently. By the way, the base game, all base games starting from the original campaign and this campaign has extra ammo. A bunch of mini expansions to give you some different abilities, or some bounties, some secret goals, some one-time secret uses, one-time abilities you can use, things that can affect each road tile differently, things like that. So this actually adds a lot of variability as well. Carnage at Devil's Run adds a ton of new boards, double-sided, adds all sorts of new effects, all sorts of new damages, going on fire, which might explode you, might make you go faster, things like that. Tons of different replayability here. And then Chop Shop gives you different boards that you can use for your driver. So you have different abilities, you have an ongoing ability, plus you can draft cards with abilities, and each of your cards will now have its own special ability, so it gives you a lot more depth to the game. So there's a ton of things here that you can add on in the Maximum Chrome, and some of these you can add on individually on the latest Kickstarter as well. All right, well, there's Thunder Road Vendetta. I didn't show you all of the rules in the game. I just kind of give you a high-level overview. Now, first, I want to preface this by saying my biases with this game. Restoration Games is a company that I absolutely love. They make games typically for me, I feel like. They've made a lot of the games that I played as a kid, like Fireball Island, Dark Tower, all that sort of stuff. And even the games that I had not played, like Downforce and this, spoiler, were games I was not familiar with, so I wasn't super all about it before they came out. But after I played them, Restoration Games just knows what they're doing. They just make great games. And even with that being said, there's so many games coming out that when Thunder Road Vendetta first came out, I didn't play right on the front end of this. I'm sort of late to the party for this game because many people had said how good it was, but I had not played this one as a kid. And the type of game this is, I didn't think I was going to be that big a fan of. But here we go. So those are sort of my biases coming in. The game itself has great production. You saw the washed minis, the big cars, all the components. Now, I did mention in the overview that I did confirm with the publisher that the Kickstarter versions, even this new, they just finished a Kickstarter right before this review ended for getting the base game and everything again, but also a brand new huge expansion. And even the base game and the new versions have the washed minis and another mini expansion I'll talk about later. But so this great production I showed you, even though I had the Maximum Chrome edition, even the base games from the Kickstarters, even this most recent Kickstarter, all base game versions from now to the future, from what they told me, is going to have these washed minis. So great production even on the base versions here. In addition to the washed minis, it does come with an extra ammo expansion, which I'll talk more in detail about later. But the organized chaos in this game, it's literally the best part of this game. I mean, if you don't like chaos, you might not like this game. I typically don't like a ton of chaos on my game, and this game is a lot of chaos. But I will say that the game it's got strategy, and there's organized chaos, and the chaos creates such memorable moments in this game that makes this game stand out from the other thousands of games that come out each year. I had one portion of a game where I was playing where my car caught on fire. Okay, the first time I had it, I rolled it and it gave me a +2, which allowed me to hit a ramp perfectly, which allowed me to go a lot further. Now I was sort of in the lead. Now, the next player hits an earthquake, causing my previous car that just went up the ramp to go backwards and almost go back into the ramp and get blown up. Only for the next player after that to hit another earthquake and have me go sideways underneath my own helicopter and get destroyed. Like, it's just funny, crazy things like that seem to happen over and over and over again in this game, where you are just going to be laughing and, hey, remember that time that, hey, remember that time that if I could say anything else about this game creates memorable moments, probably second to almost none from other games. It's really fun. You just gotta have a blast. You're sometimes working together. So sometimes there's someone in the lead, everyone else is sort of working together sort of to kind of pull that leader back or make sure that they don't get too far ahead. So you're kind of working together as a team semi-cooperatively, but then those alliances sort of change depending on who's on the lead. Sometimes you're going to be protecting someone that has one car left. So maybe someone's way out in the lead, somebody only has one car left. The person in the lead wants that player to lose their last car so that the finish line can come out and they can win. Well, everyone else is sort of trying to protect that other player's last car, so that doesn't happen yet. But maybe one of the other players has a big play move. Now they get up close to the front, and now they're not as much interested in protecting that other person's car. And the alliances sort of shift. It's just the above the table talk and stuff was much greater in this game than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be crazy, fun, random chaos, but no, there's actually strategy, there's alliances. It's just a blast. You're constantly changing strategies. Also, looking at who has already moved, which cars have they moved. You're looking at everyone's board, you're going, that player already moved that car, so I can safely sort of move, well, maybe safely, move like right in front of them or right near them, because they're not going to move again this round, unless somebody ends up slamming it and then it slams into me, stuff like that. But you are looking at who still has cars to move, who doesn't, and that's going to change where I'm going to do and what I'm going to do. So there's definitely a lot of strategy involved, even though it's not just a dice checker, boom, have fun. No, all of that is there, but on top of that is a great layer of strategy that I guess I should say I wasn't really expecting, but I should have expected, because Restoration Games is doing the game and they do great stuff. Now the game does come with lots of expansions, as I showed you. Now that extra ammo expansion I was going to tell you about. A lot of people are like, hey, should I get the Maximum Chrome edition? I think it was like $160, right? The base game, I believe, was $60. Don't quote me on that. I think that's what it was in the most recent one. Now, the base game, hey, look, if you're the type of person that plays a game a few times a year, maybe once or twice a year, maybe expansions aren't for you. But if you're like kind of on maybe you're the type of player that always plays things a lot, all right, then Maximum Chrome is probably a good thing because there's so much stuff there. But the base game is very good. And when you add that extra ammo in, you're adding things like bounties, which are basically like special goals that you have that make you play different, make it have fun. Your one-time use abilities that you flip over and just do and have fun. Maybe the different little abilities you might have. So there is a lot in the base game. So this isn't a game that's like, hey, you have to get everything. You can have tons of fun with the base game, especially because it comes with the extra ammo mini expansion. If I was, again, Everything else is awesome. Everything is really good. But if you're like, hey, if I don't have the 160, but I have the 60, what if I were to get one expansion? If you were to get just one expansion, I think the one to get is the Carnage at Devil's Run. That one's $40. So then you're at 100 between the base game and that, because that one comes with a ton more double-sided boards and a ton more the hazard tiles and a ton more damage tiles, and that I think that's like the best bang for your buck. So that's sort of where I land on all that sort of thing. Now, another big positive is, again, they just finished this newly available with the Kickstarter. Now, granted, I think it's going to, from what I saw, it's supposed to fulfill in November of 2024, which isn't that too far away. It's not that far, but it's available again, which is great. Negative side of things. Even with all the strategy and the things that I just mentioned, I think the game's amazing, but it might still be too random for some players. If you're a quiet strategy, no luck abstract player, or no luck Eurogame player, probably not the game for you. But you could be surprised, because I thought this game was going to be too random for me, and I was proven wrong. This game's a blast. The other side is that one of the expansions, the Chop Shop, is awesome because you can draft a bunch of new stuff, and each of your cards can have new abilities. But on the negative side of things, it can be a little bit too much to keep track of if you're not that familiar with the game. That's an expansion where if you do not play unless everybody is familiar with the game, and then that expansion sings. But don't play with that one too early, or there's just too much going on, too many things that can happen that you didn't really realize could happen because that's their ability. Even though it's open, it's just a lot to keep track of. That's a little negative there. Don't play that expansion until everyone knows what they're doing. The game is fantastic. It's awesome. It's if I had played this last year, it absolutely would have made my top 10 games of the year, for sure. And for all those reasons, I haven't done this in a while, but I am keeping the game, so it's staying in my gaming library, so let's induct it properly with a saxophone serenade. Game Toppers upgrades every game you play, and if you missed their 4.0 Kickstarter, you can still late pledge and take advantage of over 40 unlocked stretch goals and early fulfillment. This campaign featured a new Young Sherlock table, perfect for children's gaming, and movable coffee table, 10 new thematic mats by top artists like Vincent Dutray, a new designer art series Minecraft topper with thematic art from Brent Woodside, and some of the best package deals they've had, including game mat bundles. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below to late pledge now.